Pop-up Pilgrims review for PlayStation VR.
Let's begin!
First up, let's take a look at the gameplay. The main objective in this game is to guide pilgrims to an exit in each level. You are in control of a cloud which is used to guide the pilgrims. Controlling the cloud is very simple, as it goes to wherever you are looking at. Pressing L2 will make the nearest pilgrim jump towards the cloud, which is something you will be doing a lot of. When there are a lot of pilgrims bunched together, it can be a bit finicky to select the one you want, especially when you are trying to do it quickly to avoid danger. Each level consists of many layers. If a pilgrim collides with a leaf at the end of a pathway, it will jump towards the layer it is pointing to. To give you more control of where the pilgrims jump to, you can smash blocks that give you hearts. These hearts give you the ability to place down clouds. When a pilgrim walks into a cloud, it will jump in or out of a layer, depending on what direction you have set it to. Each level really is a sort of maze, and it is best to take a few minutes to observe the layout of a level before commanding for pilgrims. New gameplay elements and enemies are introduced over the course of the game, and it really does help to keep the game fresh over the course of its 6 worlds. Some enemies poison your pilgrims, and some simply push them towards an edge. If you lose a pilgrim, it won't appear in the next stage. This does make the game quite intense, but because you have to learn how each new danger works, the trial and error can lead to frustration, as you may end up going on to the next stage with only one pilgrim, which makes the next level a lot harder. Luckily, you can gain more pilgrims by getting one to carry a coin to a box in certain levels. Seeing a lot of pilgrims on screen at once can be quite daunting at first, but you soon get into the habit of placing most of your pilgrims on platforms which will keep them safe and in a movement loop, which does ruin some of the fun and panic of managing a lot at one time. But in the later levels, it really is necessary, as there are a lot of obstacles to avoid. Sometimes the level exit needs to be unlocked first. To do this, you must get pilgrims to carry orbs to statues. How you obtain these orbs can vary. Some are dropped when you defeat a monster, and some are obtained by smashing a rock pile. Once again, it's a bit of trial and error, and I did get stuck a couple of times, not knowing how to proceed. There are stones that the pilgrims can walk over to give them different abilities, such as turning them into an archer or a warrior. The archer is able to shoot enemies from far away, and the warrior is able to attack enemies and walls automatically. The warrior certainly demands your full attention, as he moves very quickly. At the end of each world there is a boss battle. The boss battles are fun to work out and are quite varied, but when you find out how to damage the boss, it quickly becomes quite tedious, as they require you to do the same action over and over again, and because the actions are not too hard to perform, it really does become a grind. At the end of each level you are scored. You receive points for the amount of pilgrims you saved, and also for the amount of sacred octopus you have collected, which serve as the game's collectibles. You are also given a gold, silver or bronze rank depending on how high your score is. You must achieve at least a bronze rank to unlock the next level, which can be a bit annoying if you haven't been keeping track of how many pilgrims you have lost and finish the level only to find out you must retry it. There is a couch co-op mode, but it really is quite bad. A second player controls a pig and is able to collect sacred octopus to help you, or can actually not help you by pushing the pilgrims off a ledge. To be honest, it's simply not fun. If a second player's intention is to kill all of your pilgrims, then it's game over, and you're not going to get anywhere in the game. It's obvious that this game was intended to be played single player, and the co-op was an afterthought. Now let's take a look at how immersive this game is. The storyline is told after selecting the prologue in the main menu. The story is that the Demon King has stolen scrolls and you must get them back. It's very simple, but you don't really expect an amazing storyline from this type of game. The graphics are very crisp and sharp. The platforms, pilgrims and enemies are all 2D in a 3D space. You never have a problem knowing which layer your cloud or pilgrims are on, and the higher up the layer is, the further away it is from you, and the depth does look amazing. It really does look a lot different when you play in VR, especially as the layers actually curve around the front of you. When all of your pilgrims die and it's game over, all the layers form into one single image. It is really impressive and quite surreal. It really is one of them wow VR moments, and one that I hadn't experienced yet. Sometimes sacred octopus are hidden behind layers. Having to look around a part of the environment to see if something is hidden is a great addition, and does involve you in the game's pop-up scenario even more. The environments do change quite a bit, and the colours seen are quite different from world to world. In one world, everything is bright and pink, and petals fall all around you, and in another, the colours are quite damp and rain falls all around you. The music is very cheery and upbeat. The music does change, but the tracks sounded a bit too similar to each other for my liking, and after a while, they started to get a bit repetitive. The music found in the boss battles don't really sound as epic as they should, even though the game is quite slow paced, and the boss music fits in that sense. I think it would have been better to have had something a bit more impactful for each world's final showdown. Now let's take a look at the setup and what controllers the game supports. I played this game in a seated position just under 2 meters away from the camera. The head tracking was perfect and the game did not make me feel motion sick. Some of the layers levels do wrap to the sides of you quite far. In these levels it's a bit awkward turning to the left and right of you if you are seated, as your chair will most likely be in your way. It didn't happen often enough though to warrant a standing playthrough in my opinion. Some of the layers can appear quite high above you when you first start playing, and I initially thought my neck would ache after a long play session. This wasn't the case though, and if you mess around with holding the options button and recentering your position, you can bring the layers down to a more comfortable viewing position. This game is played with a DualShock controller. The other controllers are not supported. Both the VR player and non-VR player uses a DualShock controller to play. Now let's take a look at the length of the game and what trophies come with it. It took me around 6 hours to beat the game, and if you're a trophy hunter, you will get a lot more hours out of it, especially if you're aiming to get the platinum trophy. In total there are 25 trophies that can be achieved. There is 6 bronze, 12 silver, 6 gold and 1 platinum. They are rewarded for guiding 1 pilgrim through each world, collecting all the sacred octopus in each world, clearing each world without losing any pilgrims, and for getting each scroll. The hardest trophy by far is for clearing each world without losing any pilgrims. This will certainly test your pilgrim guiding skills and you will need to master each level's layout. It would have been nice to have had some sort of time trial trophies, but the trophies here are very good and do cover everything that the game has to offer. And now it's time for the verdict. The game's difficulty does start off quite slow, which may make guiding for pilgrims a bit tedious to begin with. The game only really started giving me a decent challenge on World 4, which was a bit of a shame. New gameplay elements are introduced at a steady pace though, and should help to keep you entertained during the easy levels. You really do need to be a patient gamer to enjoy this title. If you enjoy working out maze-like levels in games, then pop-up pilgrims will certainly keep you amused, and the added depth really does bring this type of game to life. Everyone always says games look a lot different in VR, but seeing this one on a 2D screen really doesn't do it justice. There is plenty here to keep you busy, especially if you like mastering puzzle games, and the price is very reasonable for the amount of gameplay hours here. But be warned, some levels layouts are quite frustrating to navigate. It really is a game that you need to take your time with. I really can't stress enough how much different this game looks in VR. It really is quite shocking seeing it on a 2D screen after seeing it virtually. As always, if you enjoyed this review, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more PlayStation VR content.